What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan and you are not subscribed to the channel, I don't know why you are not, but you need to do so right now. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video, and make sure you are following me on all my social media platforms. Links as always down below. So you see the title. I'm going to be doing a rankings list today for you guys, okay? And we're going to be ranking all of the possible quarterback options for the Chicago Bears for this upcoming 2021 NFL season. So I'm going to go through all the quarterback options and rank them, all right? So I've done a video where I've kind of listed out all the quarterback options. Now let's put them in an order, okay? From best to worst. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, here we go. So you see the board. We've got ranking the best quarterback options for the Bears in 2021. And I'm going to be ranking the top 10, all right? And a couple of caveats here before I do get started. Number one, I will not be talking about Mitchell Trubisky. For all intents and purposes, I believe Mitchell Trubisky's career in Chicago is over, so I do not believe he is an option for the Chicago Bears for this upcoming season. I know a lot of you guys have reached out and said, Faiz, can we, bring back Mitch on a one-year deal again? I just don't believe it happens for two reasons. Number one, I don't believe Matt Nagy wants him back, and I think he's done with the Mitchell Trubisky experiment. And number two, I think Mitchell Trubisky is done as well with Matt Nagy, if you will, and he wants to move on, and he wants to possibly go somewhere else. So I'm not going to be mentioning Mitchell Trubisky in this list, so don't look out for that. Number two, I'm not going to be mentioning rookie quarterbacks because, again, I've harped on this before. If this is the last year for Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, I'm not sure if they can win with a rookie quarterback. It's just very hard to win with a rookie quarterback in the NFL, win anything significant, really. And so I'm not going to be including rookie quarterbacks. So it's very possible that the Bears, 2021 starter could end up being a quarterback that they draft in this year's NFL draft. So not going to be including Trubisky, not going to be including any rookie quarterbacks. So these are going to be guys you can acquire in free agency or you can acquire in a trade. So let's get started. All right, so usually I start at the bottom and work my way up, right? Build the hype up. This time we're going top to bottom, all right? Because here's the thing. We know who the top option is. I'm pretty sure I've literally exhausted every topic about him as possible, like talking about him ad nauseum. We know who it is. It is DeShaun Watson, of course. And he is the best quarterback option on the board, not just for the Chicago Bears, but for any team that is looking for a quarterback, honestly. So with DeShaun Watson, again, he is the big fish. He is the big prize out there. And the Bears should absolutely have him as the number one priority. But there's only one team that DeShaun Watson can go to. So every other team that's in those sweepstakes, they're going to have to move on and get a plan B, plan C, plan D, whatever it is, okay? So as much as I'm ready to push all the chips in for DeShaun, there is a chance the Bears don't get him, right? Again, the other teams have better assets than the Chicago Bears. DeShaun's going to want to come here. So there's a lot at play here. Absolutely, the Bears should have DeShaun as the number one option, and they should push all the chips in for DeShaun Watson. But no guarantee, obviously, that we get him. So he is, of course, the number one option. I shouldn't have to explain it. It is what it is. He made you a Super Bowl contender right away. You just add DeShaun Watson, and you don't change his roster, you're a Super Bowl contender. Number two on this list for the quarterback options, we've got Dak Prescott. Okay, Dak Prescott is set to hit free agency. But then again, we know that the Dallas Cowboys could stop that from happening and tag him again. All right, it looks like they've just been playing this game of, tag for like 3 years now, right? Dak keeps wanting to run away, and they keep saying, nope, tag, you're it, we're going to keep tagging you. They keep hitting him with that franchise tag. They could do it again. Obviously, Dak Prescott had a devastating injury this past season. But again, he would still be a huge upgrade if the Bears were able to get him in free agency, if the Cowboys obviously let him hit free agency. And the best part about Dak Prescott would be that we wouldn't have to mortgage our future. See, for DeShaun Watson, even though he is the better quarterback for sure, you have to mortgage your future. 3 first-round picks minimum. We've talked about it. 2 second-round picks, potentially 3, a young star player. For Dak Prescott, all you're shelling out is cash. A lot of it, for sure, 40 million plus, potentially per year, but you're just shelling out cash. You're not giving up any assets. So in that instance, you could get Dak and build around him because, again, you don't have to give up any assets. And Dak Prescott would be a major upgrade for the Chicago Bears. So he is, again, a clear number 2 option. After DeShaun and Dak, there's a little bit of a drop-off here, but still decent. At number 3, we've got Derek Carr. A lot of Bears fans are, kind of on both sides with Derek Carr. Some of them believe he doesn't make much of a difference. Other believes that he's the perfect fit for the Chicago Bears. I'm somewhere in the middle. Derek Carr isn't a game-changing quarterback, but he is still much better than what we've had. He would be an upgrade, and Derek Carr has been solid. That's what I would describe Derek Carr as, just a solid, steady quarterback. And that's really what you need when you have an elite level defense, right? And you depend on that. So a guy who doesn't make a lot of mistakes, a guy who's going to help you move the chains. That's what Derek Carr does. Now, how could you acquire him? This would have to be via trade. And all I'm focused on here is the asking price. If it's 2 first-round picks, that's too much for Derek Carr. If we're talking 1 first-round pick, all right, we could talk about it. So trade-wise, because that's the only way this would work, will the Raiders give him up? Will they move on to Marcus Mariota? What would be the price if they gave him up? That's what it would have to happen for Derek Carr. But he would be the 3rd option here for the Chicago Bears if they decide to make a play for him. All right, let's move on to number 4 here. And this is where I believe there is a bit of a drop-off here. And you guys might not agree with this. I might get a lot of pushback, but you know what? Hear me out, and then we'll get to it. So number 4, I'm going to put here Jimmy G. And I'll tell you this much right now. Before you freak out, 4, 5, and 6, kind of in the same range, right? We do think there's a drop-off here from 1 to 2, then a drop-off here from 3 to 4. But here's the thing. Jimmy Garoppolo, right? The 49ers want to move on from him. We know they hide Jimmy Garoppolo because of the run game. So you might be saying, Faiz, why would we want Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, again, he is a 4th option. I'm not saying he's the number 1 option. But Jimmy Garoppolo, again, he's gone to a Super Bowl. We know he can work in a system. He's decent. All right, he's decent. He isn't broken. He's just, his biggest problem, you know what Jimmy Garoppolo's biggest problem is? He is injury prone, right? He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. That, to me, is the biggest selling point against Jimmy Garoppolo, would be injury-wise, he can't stay healthy. But let me put down 5 and 6 here, and let me see if you guys can tell why I believe these guys are in the same range, all right? Number 5, I'm going to put Sam Darnold here, okay? So Sam Darnold, the former, I believe, number 2 overall pick with the Jets. Obviously, we know the Jets could draft a quarterback with the number 2 overall pick that they have this year, or they could potentially trade for DeShaun Watson, right? So we'll see what the Jets will do. But again, they could potentially move Sam Darnold off. Sam Darnold has not shown much so far in his career, but he's been surrounded by garbage, folks. Let's be honest. Like, the Jets haven't given him anything to work with. No weapons, no offensive line. They haven't given him a good defense to kind of support him. Coaching staff's been awful. So everything that you could do that is negatively impacting a young rookie quarterback or a young quarterback in general, that's what the Jets did. So Sam Darnold somewhere else could get a fresh start, and you could see that potential that really made him a top 5 pick. So Sam Darnold, it's all about the asking price. What could the Jets demand if they are looking to move off of Sam Darnold? And he's still very young, so, the potential's there. There's more potential than Jimmy G. And here we go. Number 6, this is one's going to shock you. All right? Gardner Minshew. A lot of people have now brought up his name. In fact, I want to give credit to my buddy Eric, who I've had on here, who does a great job covering the Bears. He's brought up Gardner Minshew's name, and I love the idea. So we know that Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville this year. They have the number 1 overall pick. There's no doubt about it. He is their quarterback of the future. That means Gardner Minshew is the odd man out. Well, Gardner Minshew has made a lot of lemonade out of lemons in Jacksonville. They haven't given him much, but he's still been able to produce. So Gardner Minshew, in a different situation, could potentially be decent, right? And you wouldn't have to give up anything significant in terms of assets. You wouldn't have to do much for Gardner Minshew. If you remember, funny enough, the Bears have Nick Foles now. Gardner Minshew, I believe, got benched because they gave Nick Foles a fat contract. If that was not the case, Gardner Minshew would still be the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm talking about a year ago when Nick Foles was still on the team. Nick Foles obviously broke his collarbone in the first game. But Gardner Minshew, folks, there's something there that I kind of like. He's got a little bit of an it factor. And again, similar to Sam Darnold, still young, potential's there. So 4, 5, and 6. I'm not going to say, Jimmy G is that much better than Darnold or Darnold's that much better than Minshew. But I will say that these three in this range, I don't mind arguing for either one of these three. I really don't. So they're kind of in the same range for me, Jimmy G, Darnold, and Minshew. All right? And that's why I'm saying I'm not going to fight you if you think one is better than the other, because you can certainly make that argument. Now, here we go. Moving on to 7. This is the name that has literally been associated with the Bears for like the past month now, it feels like. But I got to mention him, Carson Wentz, okay? And now you might be thinking, Faiz, why do you have Carson Wentz so low? You think Carson Wentz is worse than Gardner Minshew? Really? Well, if we're talking about 2020 Carson Wentz, then yes, absolutely. Carson Wentz got benched, folks. He got benched for a rookie quarterback. Carson Wentz was, and this is not disputable, statistically one of the worst, if not the worst starting quarterback in the NFL last year. If we are getting 2017 Carson Wentz, he would literally be at number 2, ahead of Dak Prescott. 2017 Carson Wentz was going to win the MVP award until he got hurt. But it's 2021. So if I'm getting 2017 Carson Wentz, like I said, he's the number 2 option. But if I'm getting 2021 Carson Wentz, the Carson Wentz I saw this year, the Carson Wentz that I think is broken, that Carson Wentz is not it, folks. He's just not it. See, these other guys, I can tell you injuries, bad situations, bad coaching staff, bad O-line, no weapons. I can give you reasons. Carson Wentz, he was just garbage. His play was just awful. And it's not like the Eagles are devoid of any talent. They've got a solid running back in Miles Sanders. They've got some weapons on the outside, really good 2 tight ends in Goddard and Ertz. They've got pieces there. Carson Wentz could make it work this year. So, again, he is a reclamation project to me. I believe with the Colts, with Frank Reich, it could work. But with Chicago, I'm not saying it wouldn't work at all. But what I am saying is, yeah, 2021 Carson Wentz that we saw, he deserves to be this low. Again, wouldn't be happy with it, but if that ends up being the case, it would depend on the price that we'd have to pay for him and whether or not you can fix him. Honestly, folks, like that's where I'm at with it, right? The price to get him, because if you're going to give up 1 or 2 first-round picks, it's crazy to me because you should be able to literally demand assets in return to take on Carson Wentz in that damn contract. But again, that doesn't seem to be the case. So overpaying for a guy like Carson Wentz just makes no sense to me. That's why I have him so low. All right, and after this, if you end up to this part of free agency or trade and this is where you're at, I mean, it might be time to wave the white flag, but at number 8, I've got Jameis Winston. All right, the Saints could bring him back. They could let him go. Jameis is a gunslinger. He would be able to put up numbers. He might be able to break the Bears' record of not having a 4,000-yard passer, ever. So Jameis can certainly do that. But will he win you a lot of games? Probably not. So that's the thing, and he'll turn the ball over a lot. So you thought Mitchell Trubisky drove Matt Nagy insane. Yeah, think about what Jameis Winston would do. And then after that, Nick Foles, if you go into 2021 as Nick Foles is your starting quarterback, and almost wrote 2021 there, it would be obviously an abject failure. But again, Nick Foles with a decent offensive line, maybe he can do something. We've seen obviously that he's gone on these ridiculous runs and obviously won a Super Bowl MVP, but you obviously can't depend on that. And then finally, 10 to me is just anyone else. At this point, this is the trash in free agency. right? Tyrod, Jacoby Brissett, right? Guys like that, Andy Dalton. If you end up with this, I mean, talk about an abject failure for the Chicago Bears. So to me, that's kind of what the list looks like. Again, I haven't included guys like Matt Ryan because I don't think they're going to get traded. I haven't included any of those guys that aren't a team like Aaron Rodgers. He's not getting traded. So, sorry, folks. Don't have that hope out there. These are realistic options for the Bears in free agency or trade. So again, this is the list. All right, DeShaun, Dak, Derek, Jimmy G, Darnold, Minshew. You can interchange these three: Wentz, Jameis, Foles, and then anyone else. All right, so that's where I'm at, folks, with the quarterback options for the Chicago Bears. Obviously, it does not look great if you go past DeShaun and Dak, and maybe even Derek Carr, but that's where we're at. So let me know what you guys think of this list. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.